Today we're doing question number 2913, subarrays distinct element sum of squares. So given we have a zero index integer nums, the distinctive count of subarrays of nums is defined as, so you can read through this if you want to, but I can explain this question briefly. So let's say we have an array 1 to 1 and we need to find the sum of squares of their distinct subarrays. So in the case of 1 to 1, how many subarrays can we have? So see, we can have this individual 1 as subarray, 2, 1, and then we can have these 1, 2 values, 2, 1, and then we can have 1 to 1. So we can have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kind of different subarrays from this one main array. And all we need to do is try to find how many distinct value it has, and then we need to square them. And when you square them, you will get your answer, which is 15. So this question looks a little tricky. You can do this by many ways, but we will be using something called set in JavaScript to solve this question. So let's jump to our board and try to figure out what the algorithm should look like. So given we have this array, right? So before we solve this problem, I need you to understand a few things. So if you know in set in JavaScript, they're like objects. So let's say we have a set of 1 to 1. So when you put a set like that and you pass the value, the resultant set will look like 1 and 2. So set will remove all the repetitive elements. So in this case, we have an extra 1. So it will remove that and we will just have our 1 and 2 value. And there are a few operations you can do on a set as well. Over here, we will be using something called the add operation and something we called the size operation. So in the add, we'll just adding the values to our set, right? And in the size, it will return the size of this set. So in this case, it will return 2. And if the element has like 3, then the size will return 3. So we will be using set here, and we need to understand these two operations only. And if you understand that, we can jump into the algorithm. So to solve this problem, we will have two loops for I equal to 0, and then we will have the second loop which will start from j equal to I. See, we need to find a distinct subarray, right? So in that case, 1 and 1 is distinct arrays. So both of the loops will start from the same point, and then they will move through with the help of like this first for loop, where as it moves, the second will move, and when the first one will reach to here, then we again move it. So that's how we will store these values inside a set. To store these values, we will be creating a set. So let's call that set distinct. So distinct will create a new set, and when first I and j iteration completes, we will be adding that array. Let's call it nums. We will be adding nums and value, and we will have our result value, which will be result plus distinct dot size times distinct dot size, because we need square of those numbers, right? So let's say in the case of 1, we will have just one distinct value and we will need to square it, and then we will add it, and then we will, let's say we have 1 and 2, it has 2 distinct value, right? We will square it, so it will be 1 square plus 2 square, and like it will go on that way. And at the end, we will just return our result. So to summarize this algorithm, we just created two loops, right? The I and j. We created a distinct set which is currently empty, and as we're looping through these two arrays, we'll be adding the nums value. And the end, we will be just finding the size of that set, and we are multiplying by the value with itself because we need to find the square of that number. And in the end, we will get our result. So let's see how to code this problem in JavaScript. So over here, we have our result variable, which is initialized with a value of 0. Currently it's 0. And then these are our two for loops. Inside we have I and j. And inside the first for loop, we are creating our new set. So as we loop through this array nums, we'll be adding those values inside our set, and it will remove all the duplications. And at the end, we will be just multiplying the value, the size with itself, because we need to find the square, right? We need to find these squares, and then we'll add them together. And at the end, we will return the result. So if I submit this, we get our answers accepted. And the complexity of this code, the time complexity of this code is of n square, because we're using 2 for loop. And I think that's it from today's question. I'll see you tomorrow with a new LeetCode question. Thanks a lot for watching.